For the last time, Pope Benedict XVI was in front of his flock. Tens of thousands of mourners watched on as his coffin was brought into St Peter's Square. Clergy from around the world and a handful of heads of state joined the faithful in paying their last respects. The service was presided over by Pope Francis, the first time in hundreds of years a current pope had led the funeral for his predecessor.
Gracious Father, we commend to your mercy Pope Emeritus Benedict, whom you made a successor of Peter and a shepherd of the Church, a fearless preacher of your word and a faithful minister of the divine mysteries.
In keeping with his wishes for a simple funeral, Benedict's coffin was unadorned, although coins minted during his papacy and a scroll summarising his life were placed inside. While much has been made of the differences between the two popes, Benedict conservative and Francis more liberal, as the funeral came to an end, the current pontiff gave his predecessor a touching farewell. This funeral marks the end of the extraordinary two-pope era, but it also raises questions about the Vatican's future. Pope Francis no longer has his conservative predecessor looking over his shoulder. So, will he take the opportunity to introduce radical change to the Church, or, battling his own ill health, will he follow Benedict's precedent and also choose to resign? From the crowd, there were calls for Benedict to be made a saint. While his time as pontiff was marred by the church sex abuse scandal, his supporters in St Peter's Square were paying tribute to his theological writings and his gentle manner.
He was a great pope, he was a great theologian, but he was also a father for many, many people. He was a very humble man, and he lived his life as an example how to serve Christ.
It was a great day that we have sent off a pope whom we are in love with.
And why?
Because as the church, he led the church in a good way by giving us opportunity to practice that aspect of a simple life.
Following the funeral service, Benedict's coffin was placed inside a zinc casket and soldered up before both coffins were put in a final wooden casket. Like most popes before him, his remains were then lowered into a crypt below St Peter's Basilica. His final resting place at the heart of the church he spent his life serving. Sarah Morice, TRT World, Vatican City.